Arut Sheva, Israel National TV, and Or Olam, the Center for Biblical Zionism, present Ari Abramowitz and Jeremy Gimpel. Live from the heart of Israel, welcome to Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem.
Ay, 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 Gilarina. Ay, 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 Lisa Becheva. Ava, Ava, Yafa. Shalom, Shalom, Bereyu. La, 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 la. Oh, yo, yo, la, 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 la. Ah, la, 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 la. From Yerushalayim. Oh,
Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Night Live in Jerusalem. Tonight's show is about Jewish joy. And we have one of Israel's premier stand-up comedian to join us tonight. His name is Yisrael Campbell, and I'm sure all of you have heard of him. I met Yisrael Campbell the first time last year over Pesach. My wife and I love stand-up comedy, and Teal and I sat down, and it was such a fun, funny, wholesome, Jewish night that I said, if I ever had the opportunity, I don't know, let's say I have a TV show, I would have that guy on for sure. And here, 1 year later, here we are now having Yisrael Campbell on. I know it's going to be a wonderful treat for all of you. So tonight is about Jewish joy. And sometimes I'm challenged with a lot of difficult situations, a lot of challenges. Sometimes I get downtrodden. And when I do, I think of a story that Tehillah told me a while ago in the name of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov teaches this story about an old man from Europe long, long time ago. He was 84 years old. His wife died. His child passed away before he did. Even his donkey had moved on to a better place. And every day he had to walk down to the village, draw up the water by himself, carry it on his back, and walk all the way back to his house by himself. The Baal Shem Tov goes on to explain that we're judged as Jews every year on Rosh Hashanah, on the Jewish New Year. But more importantly, we're judged every day by the encounters that we have throughout our lives and everyday occurrences. Now, this man could have justifiably said, why me, God? I'm 84. Why? My wife is gone. My child can't. I don't even have a donkey. I have to go all the way down to the well and draw it up and carry it by myself. I'm 84. Why? That's not fair. And the Baal Shem Tov then says, we are judged every day by our reaction and our interpretation to the events that happen to us every day. We are the judge and the decision makers of how our day will be. We have the power to make it a good day, and we have the power to make it a bad day. And what this man did, instead of complaining, he looked up to the sky and he said, thank God I'm so healthy that I can walk all the way down to the village, draw up the water, and carry it all on my own. Thank God I'm so healthy that I can still do that. That's the difference. That's the secret to Jewish happiness. That's the secret that's encoded within Judaism. And the infrastructure of the Torah teaches us how to live our most fulfilled lives. Our sages teach us that our minds can only hold one thought at a time. And human beings have this tendency to always focus on what we don't have. And Judaism comes to teach us to give gratitude and thanks for everything that we have. That's why when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we do is we say, Modeh ani lefanecha. We say, thank you, God, I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving me one more day. Thank you for giving me one more breath. Thank you for letting my eyes open in the morning. Thank you for letting me be free. Thank you for all the things that we always take for granted. You know, a Harvard study just came out recently, and they had a group of 4 people. Group number 1, before they went to bed, they wrote everything down that aggravated them throughout the day. They let it all out, so they'd go to sleep with a peace of mind. If they got into a car accident, stood in line, a flat tire, they wrote everything that upset them that day. The second group, they wrote everything that they were better than other people. If they were smarter than other people, prettier than other people, better looking, nicer, kinder, whatever it was, they wrote down, I'm better than that guy at this. And then they went to bed. Another group didn't do anything and they just went to bed. And the last group, before they went to bed, they wrote down all the things that they were thankful for. All the things that they were so grateful for happening to them that day. Harvard came out with the study, and it proved that the people that were the happiest were the people that lived with gratitude and thanks. Modern psychology is now coming to the truth that our sages have been teaching us for centuries, that a true Jewish life, a true fulfilled, happy life, is a life filled with gratitude. That is the secret to Jewish joy.
There's a famous Hasidic story that actually, it goes back centuries. Two rabbis, Rav Simcha and Rav Zissel, they're walking along a stream, skipping rocks, talking Torah, really connecting on Kabbalistic mystical levels, and along comes a big, massive Cossack, a boor of a man, a soldier, and what does he do when he sees Jews? He takes his stick and he starts beating them, beats them to the ground. Then he takes them, drags them, throws them in the back of his horse-drawn cell, and brings them to downtown Minsk. He throws them in the cell in downtown Minsk. Now the cell has bars on all four sides, and all of the prisoners have their backs pushed up against the bars. It's a sweltering hot day. It's disgusting out. It's miserable. And why do they have their backs up against the bars? Because in the middle of this cell, there's a big pot that everybody is using as a bathroom. And there's flies, and it's terrible, and they can't even breathe. And Rav Simcha, he starts to cry. And Rav Zissel says, Rav Simcha, why are you crying? And he says, well, it's almost nighttime, and I haven't prayed the afternoon service. Mincha, the afternoon service, I haven't prayed it. And I know, according to Jewish law, I'm not allowed to pray in a bathroom. I'm not allowed to pray in a bathroom. And he was crying and he was weeping. And Rav Zissel says, but don't you understand that because we're stuck in this bathroom, you're fulfilling God's will by not praying? We should be so happy that we're not praying, we're fulfilling God's will. And Rav Simcha realized it was true. They started singing, and they were dancing and singing and dancing and flipping. And the Cossack comes, he's banging on the bars. He's banging on the bars, he tries to get their attention, but they're too happy. He's banging on the bars, he says to one of the prisoners, why are those two Jews so happy? And he said, I don't know, I think it has something to do with that pot in the middle of the cell. And he says, oh yeah? Well then get that pot out of here. You see, sometimes, truly, the answer to our worst problems is just to be happy. And that's why we've decided to bring a guest that will answer all of your problems, that will make all of you happy. I also saw him last Pesach. He is a world-renowned comedian, very sought after here in Israel. I've been laughing ever since I've seen him. He's incredible. Yisrael Campbell, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, the question that everyone must be asking already, how does a guy like you get a job as a stand-up comedian?
It's a good question. First of all, congratulations on the show, the audience. It's amazing. Really amazing.
We made them ourselves.
Yeah. What a beautiful group of people. I came to this at first I was an actor, and I studied to be an actor, and I went to drama school, and it was hard to get work, and I started writing my own material so that I could take more control over my career. I started doing comedy, and then when I got religious, it worked perfectly because I could dictate when I work and how I work and the conditions under which I'll work.
So you're a teacher now at Pardes, is that true?
I do. I teach a creative writing class at Pardes.
So how does that work? Teaching in comedy, Judaism?
Comedy, I think, is very revealing about. I think one of the things that comedy allows me is that allows me to bring people to a place that just standing up in front of them and talking about something per se might not allow me to do, but getting them to laugh and getting them to open up in that way and then kind of inserting the message allows me to do stuff that I wouldn't be able to do simply as a
So how can other people in Israel and around the world see you perform?
In Israel, I'm performing during Hol Moed Pesach right here at the Grand Guest House, almost across the street. There's information downstairs. There'll be information on my website, www.yisraelcampbell.com.
Y-I-S-R-A-E-L.
Yes, Y-I-S-R-A-E-L.
Campbell like the soup.
Campbell like the soup.
Any relation?
Yisrael like the country, Campbell like the soup, but with a Y. No relation, or I would be sponsoring this show tonight. So, yeah.
All right, well, take it away, Yisrael. We're waiting to laugh.
Thank you. Is it warm in here? Or it's just that I'm the only one dressed for Poland in the 17th century? I brought my Haredi briefcase. What is it with the Haredim? You know, they can spend $3,000 on a fur hat and they can't buy a canvas bag? As if anyone Haredi would go to Steinmatsky. Hi, my name is Yisrael Campbell. As you were told, Campbell's not a very Jewish name. It's not Jewish at all. It's Scottish. But Yisrael is a very Jewish name. So on average, I've got a pretty Jewish name. People always ask, they see me, they hear my name, they ask, are you Haredi? Obviously, I'm not Haredi. I'm wearing a blue shirt. And I should tell you, these are not even payas. This is the beginning of a comb-over. You tell me, with a couple of well-placed kippah in the back. Can you tell I'm losing a little hair up top? So I grew up Catholic. People always want to know how, vaguely Catholic, but vaguely Catholic is Catholic enough. People always want to know, though, how Catholic were you? Catholic enough to know I was going to hell. So I switched religions. That's a Yiddish cop. Right? People always say there's no Hebrew word for hell. There's no Hebrew concept for hell. There's a Hebrew word for hell. Upan. Adult Hebrew language instruction is hell. Here in Israel, they sell it as a vacation. Opan Akiva, Netanya, come to the beach, it's warm, it's sunny, your friends will be there. Come to think of it, that's the way they sell hell. It's warm, it's sunny, your friends will be there. I'm the firstborn son of a manic depressive Italian woman and a pathologically silent Irishman. This makes me wildly emotional in a very quiet way. I look calm, I'm just going nuts on the inside. My parents went through Catholic school all the way through college. My mother then went into the convent. Thank God she left, otherwise only half of me would be standing here tonight. And it would be the quiet Irish half. My aunt, though, was a nun, which makes Jesus my uncle. I'm not making that up, that's church doctrine. She's a bride of Christ, she's my aunt, he's my uncle. I only mention that in Jerusalem for parking. I converted to Judaism. I converted 3 times. I converted in the Reform movement, in the Conservative movement, and then here in Israel in the Orthodox movement, just in case I ever want to be buried here or have anyone eat in my kitchen. I should tell you, there's not a lot of time, but I know I don't look like a Reformed Jew anymore, but the Reform movement gave me the warmest welcome to Judaism that I ever received across the board, and I always feel I need to mention that. You know, it's a mitzvah to call out the good, and I want to do that, you know, because 36 times the Torah says to welcome the stranger. We suck at that. I mean, but I think that's what this show is doing. We're engendering this idea. We're supposed to be a light unto the nations. And we've got to do that, you know. Shatnez, right? Don't mix wool and linen in your clothing. Mentioned once. Nobody does it. 36 times everyone's like, what do you think they mean by stranger? No one's stranger than your brother Bill. Let's invite your brother Bill over. So I should tell you this, 3 circumcisions is not a religious covenant. It's a fetish. So there I was. I moved to Israel in 2000. I moved to. Yeah, it's a crazy country to live in. Do you know that Israelis take 28 driving lessons? To learn what? Lesson 12: driving on the curb. Don't look in the mirror. What's in front is bad enough. Why include what's behind? Close your eyes. Jerusalem is a holy city. I brought my vest. Well, I got out of my car. The law is if you get out of your car, you're supposed to wear your vest. Let's go back through this, okay? 500 people die in traffic accidents last year. This is the official response of the state of Israel. Make a better target. I would no more wear this on the side of an Israeli highway than I would to, say, a Dick Cheney hunting party. But it's a big debate, you know, in Israel and in Judaism. Is the land of Israel holy? Big debate. Far-reaching implications. Is the land... And it was answered for me recently. I was downtown Jerusalem. I watched a man park. And before he got out of his car, he put a handicap placard in the windshield. And then when he got out of his car and touched the land of Israel, he was healed. He walked away from the car with no visible handicap. I screamed, Baruch Hashem! Because I had watched him park. He had been handicapped. He wasn't as nearly as excited as I was about his recovery. I read the Jerusalem Post because I'm a comedian. Do you remember this? About 3.5 years ago, the IDF killed a master Hamas bomb maker. Do you remember this? The guy had one arm and no legs. I'm going to say he wasn't a master bomb maker. I'm going to say he was a mildly proficient bomb maker at best. But my question is this: if you show up for master bomb making class and the teacher has one arm and no legs, can you defer till next semester? Because I want the two-armed, two-legged master bomb-making teacher. You can imagine when a guy like me, dressed like this, shows up for a flight on El Al with a passport that says Christopher Campbell. They don't ask if I packed my own luggage. They ask, sir, where's the bomb? Because they think I just forgot to switch the passport, right? And we get into a whole discussion. When did you convert to Judaism? How did you convert to Judaism? I tell them the whole story, right? I say I was seeking a community of people with which I could struggle to have a relationship with God. El Al is not interested in putting people on airplanes that are struggling to have a relationship with God. They don't even like vegetarian meal requests. Now they ask, why did you convert to Judaism? I say, the women. And the women of El Al say, of course. And the men of El Al say, good luck. I was married here in Israel. We were married 6 years ago, 2 days ago. Rosh Chodesh Nisan 2002, March of 2002 was that crazy month. Over 126 Israelis were killed in the month of March of 2002. It was a horrible month. You know that if 126 Israelis were killed, countless more hundreds of Palestinians were killed. It's a horrible month for everyone. 2 weeks before the wedding, we're arguing with the hotel about how many waiters per table. A week before the wedding, we're arguing with the hotel about how many armed guards. We want 12 armed guards. They want 9 armed guards and 3 guys with walkie-talkies. I said, look, unless you hit the guy right in the head with the walkie-talkie, it's not going to help. Menachem, yes, he's here. Great. I kept thinking 380 people, a small Jerusalem wedding, right? We're going to have 380 people in a public place. Are we crazy? Yes. But that's what Jews do. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said that when a Jew is sad, he cries. When he's even sadder than that, he's silent. But when he's even sadder than that, he sings. And that's what we did. We gathered together, we danced, and we sang. We took over the Inbal Hotel. In the middle of the wedding, I heard my sister say, right? My Catholic sister say to my Catholic mother, this is as close to a Grateful Dead concert as you're ever going to get. And there we were. It was amazing. It was amazing. And to just almost 4 years ago now, my wife and I were blessed with twins. Thank you. I always say we gave birth, but I didn't really do so much at the birth. My wife gave birth. The twins were small. They're usually small. They're often small twins. They were born 5 weeks early. She'd been on bed rest at Hadassah Har Tzofim Hospital for 9 weeks before that. They were blessed, thank God. Our boy was 2.2 kilos. Our little girl was 1.6 kilos, about 3 pounds. She said, you got to be 2 kilos to come home. 17 days later, she was 2 kilos. She came home at 17 days old wearing this. And it fit. She gained 25% of her body weight in 17 days. Thanks in large part to the Russian nurses of Hadassah Har Tzofim Hospital. Because I fed her first meal, 24 hours old. She ate 5 cc's of formula in the nipple of a bottle. They didn't even attach a bottle to it. Then I'd be feeding her a couple days later. I'd say, I don't think she wants it anymore. And the nurse would say, she will eat! Do you think taping the bottle to her head is a good idea? I fed Comrade Stalin, I will feed her. Okay. She came home wearing this. It's from the Gap. She has American grandparents. Tag says Baby Gap newborn preemie 0 to 5 pounds. Can I just say a 0-pound baby does not need clothes? They must know that at the Gap, that's all they do is clothe people. Imagine they had a meeting and someone said the tag will say Baby Gap newborn preemie 1 to 5 pounds. Someone else said, no, write 0. We can clothe the 0-pound baby. A pocket? Does the 0-pound baby need a pocket? A 0-pound baby has neither arms nor legs. It certainly doesn't need a pocket. This baby came home at 17 days old. All they told us is that she has to poop 4 to 5 times a day. I mean, that makes sense. That's her head, that's her bottom. How long could it take? First day home, a Thursday, she pooped 4 times. That's okay. That's within the normal range. Not going to be one of those fathers that insists on the 5th poop. Next day, Friday, nothing. Because it's Shabbos. You can't call anybody. Finally, Saturday night, Shabbat, I don't know if you know this, but in Saturday, no poop. In Jerusalem in late July, when you have a baby that's not pooping, Shabbat goes out at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Finally, Shabbat goes out, we call the pediatrician, she's not pooping. Pediatrician says the baby poops 4 to 5 times a day or once a week. How can that be? How can the normal range, totally normal, be 28 to 35 times or once? Those of you that are parents know, I held this baby in my arm the first day she was born. I looked at her and said, you're going to go in the army? No, those of you that are parents know, you hold your baby. I looked at her and I said, I just want you to be happy. That's it. Just happy. And married. But that's it. Happy and educated. But that's it. Happy, married, and educated. And religiously and secularly. But that's it. In Hebrew and English. But that's it. 17 days later, I'm holding the very same baby thinking, just poop! Thank you very much. You've been a great kosher and Sameach Pesach. Thank you.
Is he awesome? In the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, It says, all these curses shall come upon you and shall pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not serve Hashem your God with joyfulness and with a glad heart. Tachat asher lo avadata et Hashem Elohecha besimcha uvetuv levav. Judaism isn't just about doing the right thing. It's about having a spectacular time while you're doing it. It's about loving being Jewish, not just practicing being Jewish. So many times people say the quality of life in America, the physical quality, the standard of living in America is so much higher than it is in Israel. I said the physical quality of life, I feel like all of us here today are saying, who cares about the physical quality of life? What about the spiritual quality of life? We're here in Israel, and we're a part of the greatest revolution in human history. And we want to show the entire world that what's happening here is a miracle. We're in Israel and we're having a blast, and we want everyone to join us in the greatest celebration in the last 2,000 years. The Jews of Jerusalem are back, and we're never going to leave. Just do it. Make Aliyah. Join the family in this giant family reunion. You won't regret it. Shalom from Jerusalem.
Siman, siman, do, mazo, mazo, do. Yihelanu leko Yisrael. Amen. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. Melech Yisrael. Chai v'kayam. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael. David Melech, Melech Yisrael.